video and actually go and make some notes up to that point. You can use mine to help you. You can use the video. Have a go yourself. Then listen to the rest of the film and carry on making really brief notes. Mine are probably too detailed. Have a go yourself. See how you get on. Right, I'm coming up to the part where I'm going to have to stop. I'd like you to look at the timing, and here at the moment it says 3:13. I'd like you to stop at 4:13. That's halfway through this whole thing, okay? That's all the chunk we're doing today. And I'm going to look at the last little bit, and I think I'm starting with this picture because look at that. That tells you almost in one sentence what this whole problem is about. We are using too many resources and life isn't sustainable on Earth. I can just see lots of fields like a patchwork quilt with not really a lot in it apart from just look like they've been ploughed, doesn't it? Right, let's have a little look.
There's very little wild left.
Wow. Now that really struck a note with me, and I'm going to write just what he said. There's very little wild, and I'm going to put it in capital there because I'm giving it a proper name. It's called the wild left. So to make a point, I'm writing it as if it were a person, if it were an object. The wild there. Right, let's carry on.
This biodiversity loss is not just a tragedy, it's the single biggest problem we face.
I'm going to use that word, that technical word, biodiversity. Okay, bio, coming from the word bios, which means life, and diversity means there's lots of different types of life. It's diverse. Okay, so biodiversity means differences in life living in one place. Okay, so there's very little biodiversity left. Okay, I'm going to put little of it left. And it's the single biggest problem we face. I think that's worth highlighting. I could even use a sentence starting with that going, the single biggest problem we face is there is very little of biodiversity left. There's a sentence forming in my head already, and that will help me. That tells me about the problem. He tells a little bit more now.
Without biodiversity, the world as we know it doesn't work.
Okay. Without, I'm going to use the word again, biodiversity. Without that different part of life with plants and animals, without biodiversity, our world doesn't work. Notice how I'm using contracted words. Instead of put does not work, I've put doesn't. And I've taken out the O and put an apostrophe. Just like theirs. I could write there is, but I've taken out the I is and put an apostrophe where it should be. Without biodiversity, our world doesn't work. Let's see what else he says. I think he's summing up this bit now.
Our planet needs its wild spaces. Every one is a component in the global machine. Only if they are all healthy can the planet run smoothly.
I love the way this film switches from nature to humans taking over like that. Look at that. I can't see any green there at all. My point here is that there's lots of different, now he used the word components, but component means parts. There's lots of different parts to this world. Okay, lots of different things, and each one is important. Each is important. If you have more of one and less of another, then the balance isn't there. and one starts to dominate the other. So that's quite a good one to sum up at the end. There's lots of different parts to this world. Each is important. Okay, let's have a little look. He's ending now.
A less wild world is less able to provide for our needs, less able to maintain dependable weather and seasons, less able to absorb our impact.
My goodness me, do you know, that gives me the shivers. When I see ice melting like that, I think, oh, now I understand the problem. Okay, David Attenborough used some really clever writing technique. He used the power of 3. Less able, less able, less able. He makes that point 3 times, and it really, really makes people aware. So I'm going to use that, less able. And there are 3 different things. So I'm going to write 3 different things off that quote. We're less able to provide for our needs. So if we don't have that balance of biodiversity, we are less able to provide for our needs. And you can rewind this back and listen to it as many times as you like. You can look at the transcript, that tells you it as well. Less able to maintain, to keep the weather dependable. That means you know what's going to happen in the seasons. You know that it's going to be sunny in the summer, and you know that it's going to be cold or snowy or rainy in the winter. And at the moment, our weather's all over the place. And actually, it's causing the world to change. So we're less able to provide for our needs, less able to keep the weather dependable, and this was the scary bit, less able to absorb our impact. That means the world is less able to cope with what we're doing to it. So I'm going to put that underneath. To cope with what we, well, who are we, humans, are doing to it. That says the same thing. You don't need to say it twice. All right. We're very near where we have to stop now. Let's see how David finishes it.
Biodiversity equals stability, and stability is what we need most of all. Can we turn this situation around? Can we rewild the world?
And on that image, you need to stop for today. Don't watch any more, because the rest of it we will look at next week. So we're really just looking at half of the video. And I think it's almost like a maths equation. Biodiversity equals stability. Ability. There we go. Things are stable, things stay the same. One doesn't dominate over the other. It's like a balance. Biodiversity, stability. And he ends, not with a nice neat conclusion, but he ends with a question. Can we rewild the world? Question mark. Can we rewild the world? So he's putting that challenge out to people. He's explained the problems, but he's actually saying, right, can we do it? We've only got a few decades left. Now, I've now got 2 pages of notes. That's quite a lot. You don't need to explain every single tiny bit of the film. That will take you too long. So you need to pick out the little bits that you want to say. Okay? He gives you lots of examples, and he makes the same point in different ways. But that's the basis of what I'm going to say in my writing tomorrow. Have a go, see how you get on, use what I've shown you, use your transcript, use whatever you need to, but make sure you have a lot of points that will help you to write very powerfully tomorrow.